Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today, in an Entertainment Spotlight, giving part of my conversation with Karen Warner Schueler, talking about her amazing book, The Sudden Caregiver. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In national news, tensions over vaccine equity pit rural against urban America. The U.S. vaccine campaign has heightened tensions between rural and urban America, where from Oregon to Tennessee to upstate New York, complaints are surfacing of a real or perceived inequity in vaccine allocation. In some cases, recriminations over how scarce vaccines are distributed have taken on partisan tones, with rural Republican lawmakers in Democratic-led states complaining of picking winners and losers, and urbanites traveling hours to rural GOP-leaning communities to score COVID-19 shots when there are none in their city. In Tennessee, Missouri, and Alabama, a dearth of shots in urban areas with the greatest number of healthcare workers has led senior citizens to snap up appointments hours from their homes. The result is a hodgepodge of approaches that can look like the exact opposite of equity, where those most likely to be vaccinated are people with the savvy and means to search out a shot and travel to wherever it is. With little more than general guidance from the federal government, states have taken it upon themselves to decide what it means to distribute the vaccine fairly and reach vulnerable populations. States face plenty of challenges. Rural counties are less likely to have the deep frozen equipment necessary to store Pfizer vaccines. Healthcare workers are often concentrated in big cities, and rural counties were particularly hit hard by the COVID-19 in many states, but their residents are among the most likely to say they're definitely not going to get vaccinated, according to recent Pfizer Family Foundation polling. Last week, state officials revealed some 2,400 doses had been wasted in Shelby County over the past month due to miscommunication and insufficient record keeping. The county in Tennessee also built up nearly 30,000 excessive doses in its inventory. The situation caused the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to investigate and the county health director to resign. In a related story, the World Health Organization says premature and unrealistic to think COVID-19 will end soon. A senior World Health Organization official said Monday it was premature and unrealistic to think the pandemic might be stopped by the end of the year, but that the recent arrival of effective vaccines could at least help dramatically reduce hospitalizations and death. The world's singular focus right now should be on keeping transmissions of COVID-19 as low as possible, said Michael Ryan, director of the World Health Organization's emergency program. If we're smart, he says, we can finish with the hospitalizations and the deaths and the tragedy associated with this pandemic by the end of the year, he said at a media briefing. Ryan said the World Health Organization was reassured by emerging data that many of the licensed vaccines appear to be helping curb the virus' explosive spread. If the vaccines begin to impact not only on death, but also on hospitalization, but have a significant impact on transmission dynamics and transmission risk, then I believe we will accelerate toward controlling the pandemic, he said. In more national news, Cuomo's attempt at apology blasted by alleged victim. One of the women who said she was sexually harassed by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is rejecting his attempt to apologize for his behavior and excuse it as an attempt to be playful. Charlotte Bennett said in a statement released on Monday that the Democrat had refused to acknowledge or take responsibility for his predatory behavior. As we know, abusers, particularly those with tremendous amounts of power, are often repeat offenders who engage in tactics to diminish allegations, blame victims, deny wrongdoing, and escape consequences, she wrote. It took the governor 24 hours and significant backlash to allow for a truly independent investigation. These are not the actions of someone who simply feels misunderstood. They are the actions of an individual who wields his power to avoid justice. New York's Attorney General said she's moving forward with an investigation into the harassment allegations after receiving a letter from Cuomo's office Monday authorizing her to take charge of the probe. In more national news, Prince Harry says split from royal life unbelievably tough. Prince Harry says the process of separating from royal life has been very difficult for him and his wife Meghan. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Harry invoked the memory of his late mother, Princess Diana, who had to find her way alone after she and Prince Charles divorced. And finally, in entertainment news, TV legend Norman Lear credits Journey to Laughter and Family. Norman Lear made TV relevant with All in the Family and more 20th century sitcoms, and he's accomplished the same for himself as a working producer who's nearing his 99th birthday. But Lear was modest as he accepted the Carol Burnett Award for his decades of achievement and the decades themselves at Sunday's virtual Golden Globe ceremony. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Take a break. Do something that will bring you joy. When you feel stuck or bogged down, take a break and do something that will bring you joy. Because joy frees up the mind. Even when you feel overwhelmed, take a break to clear your mind. You might begin by saying a little prayer, asking God to show you what to do first or how to do it. Make yourself walk away from your desk. Stretch. Do some deep cleansing breaths. Enjoy a cup of tea or coffee. When you feel stuck, you must find the common joyful thing that works for you. Joyfulness will allow your mind to see things differently. Joyfulness is the positive energy force to free up your creativity. Take a walk. Go outside for a minute. Look up at the sky, taking in the fresh air. Be quiet and allow God to speak to you, assisting you with your perceptions. Today, practice becoming joyful about everything, about anything. And remember, enjoy your day.
Karen Warner Schueler is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Karen Warner Schueler joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about her book, The Sudden Caregiver, and what all of us can learn from it. Here's a bit of our conversation.
What has it been like for you to be a part of this conversation about caregiving, Karen, and how we can be able to support each other?
Well, for me, I decided when I became a caregiver, and the title of the book says it all, I became a sudden caregiver when my late husband was diagnosed with cancer overnight. And so while I was going through my caregiving experience, I felt like there must be a roadmap for this. There must be all the caregivers. There's 53 million caregivers in the U.S. alone. Somebody has figured out best practices for this. And I didn't find that. And so while I was caring for my late husband, I cared for him for 18 months until his death in 2016, I was taking notes about what it would be like both to be a caregiver in the, practical sense, but also to build resilience as you go through the process. It is, as you know, a demanding role. And it also, I found it to be a role that offered great well-being. And other caregivers that I spoke to as I was writing my book shared those stories with me. And I've tried to capture those and present those in the book as well.
And I love the fact that as you're able to share a bit of your own journey, Karen, and I appreciate you sharing some of it here as well. As you mentioned, and I also referenced, you're able to share the stories of others, but you also share some practical tips that can also be of assistance to someone else.
I'm smiling as you bring up that example, Cyrus, because it was, to me, it's all on me as the caregiver. People are going to want to know, information, and they're going to want receipts and things written down. And so I created what I call my network and my caregiving squad.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.